Hello and welcome to another Dragonstorm Studios video. And without too much preamble, I present to you Zac Efron as if he were Oko, Thief of Crowns. And for those who don't know, Oko is a fae character, so a mysterious magical character from Magic the Gathering when the game, was in a place called Eldraine. And Eldraine was a fairy tale land. So there are lots of really interesting looking characters, lots of archetypes as well, from stories like Brothers Grimm. And Oko was this really handsome looking fae character who lived in the woods and had this really great energy and power to him. In fact, so much so that he was banned in multiple formats, to the point where he became almost like his own little joke or meme. People were saying Oko is Broko, and it was true. It was very powerful, and even the people who developed the set had said they didn't quite realize how powerful the mechanic in the set was, which they created. So as a result, the card was banned, but I always thought the card was very cool. And while fan casting and thinking about different sorts of characters who could play Magic the Gathering individuals, my thought went to Zac Efron as being that kind of otherworldly looking sort of personality who could fit with Oko. So one thing I wanted to do today was talk about drawing mushrooms. And you can see I've already drawn a couple of arrows here, and that's how we start drawing a mushroom. It's basically just an arrow with a curve added to it. So if I'm looking down at that mushroom, the curve would be down. So I'm above it, looking down. And if, let's say, the mushroom was growing kind of away from me, in that case, there's my arrow, the curve would be going up. So I could see up and do it. And in that case, you'd probably get the branch actually in front of the mushroom. So that's essentially what we're doing. We're just simply making an arrow and we're adding a curve to it. And it seems really simple. And I suppose it is, but it's a technique which a lot of people probably wouldn't think of. And anytime you can break down a technique or a skill into more component parts to make it a little bit simpler, then it's always better. So I'm going to add a shadow beneath the cap, or the top of the mushroom. And in here, when I'm looking up at that mushroom, I can see all these wonderful little lines that make up the internal structure of that mushroom. And I wish I'd planned this a little bit better. I could have made it a little bit larger, but I really wanted to show that Oko was in like a forested sort of environment, and one which, had all sorts of different life teeming in it. Oko is part of the Simic colors, so green and blue, and they are all about biology, life, sometimes the control of it, but oftentimes just the wildness of it all, and the wild magic which Oko would bring to the table, I think would be shown through a whole bunch of really fine details in that kind of life. So I'm just going to throw in a whole bunch of these mushrooms. They're going to attach that tree through some moss or other kind of more rotted parts of the tree. This forest obviously is quite a damp sort of place. Anytime we get a lot of rain, I get mushrooms in my yard growing all of a sudden out of nowhere. I have no idea where they come from, but it's that lush environment that creates the perfect place for them to grow. And we might kind of add some spots to them as well, some extra details. And don't think that you can't adjust some of these arrows as well. Let's go in a little bit closer and see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here I am zoomed in. I'm gonna make some larger mushrooms here, and I'm gonna purposely make these arrows imperfect, because very often you do in life get variety, and that sort of variety always kind of adds interest to the work. These are not your classic perfect arrows you'd see on a street sign or in the logo of a FedEx truck. These are really natural looking, and as a result they have character to them. And that's just it. In nature you do get imperfection. You do get bugs that have taken little bites the mushrooms, and you might have some damage from wind, rain, monkey bat creatures, all sorts of possibilities for imperfections and for variety, which I think is great. So we can start shading in a little bit, add some darkness beneath that cap again and on the stem, and really make these look interesting. So I'm gonna just add a whole bunch more of those. Before I go, I'm just gonna talk a bit about the branches while I'm at it. And I'm just gonna have a whole bunch of lines that are, again, not straight, just kind of going back and forth to create that wonderful bark that we'd see on a tree there. And working around the mushrooms, I might have some of that moss extend actually a bit further, just little circles to show that fuzziness of the moss growing on the tree there, where the mushrooms have found some attachment and sustenance to grow. And then just some shading on top of that. That's how I did the trees up at the top of the page there. So I hope you enjoyed that video in terms of adding detail to your environment. It makes a big difference, I think. If you thought the video was useful to you, maybe you consider giving it a like, share it with people who might be like-minded to yourself. And if you feel that the video has interested you, check out the other ones on the channel and give us a subscription. Thank you so much for watching, and have a fantastic day.